Morning everybody, so we're going to be carrying on our recapping today, looking a little bit more at fractions. Okay, so I'd like you to start off by telling me the shape in the top right corner. Then you're going to have a go at telling me what is a quarter of 322 and a 3/4 of 320, one quarter of 320 and 3/4 of 320. Now what I would suggest doing is look, it's got a 0 on the end, take off the 0 and then put it back on after. Then for number 3, you're completing the part whole model. Remember thinking about what the whole is going to be. If it's one whole, what's the numerator and the denominator going to be, looking at your part, and then adding your scores together. Now I'm not going to go over too many of these answers, I'll just go over the ones now which I think you'll need a bit of support to kind of show you. So press play once you have had a go at doing all of these and I'll go through the answers. So you should have worked out that the shape at the top is a cube because it is got squares that are all got the same sides and it's a 3D shape. Then when you're doing a quarter of 320, well first of all let's take off my 0 and let's find a quarter of 32. So if I do 32 divided by 4, 2, 3, 4. If I count up in my 4s to get to 32, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. I know each part is going to be worth 8, so I'm going to put that in there. So I know if I am finding just 1/4, I'm going to find one part, so your answer is going to be 8. However, for number 2, when you're finding what 3 parts are worth, I'm going to use a different colour. So there's 3 parts, so 1, 2, 3, and I can see 3 parts, I've got 8, 16, 24, so 24 is your answer for number 2. For number 3, we're finding out what the part is. Now remember, if it's a whole, I'm going to turn this into a fraction. My top number and my bottom number need to be the same. If I look at what my bottom number is here, the bottom number has to be 5, so the top number has to be 5 to show it's a whole. So how many fifths do you add to 2 fifths to get to 5 fifths when my denominator stays the same? 5 take away 2 is 3 fifths. And finally, your answer for number 4 is 619. Okay, can you start off by saying what the shape is? Then can you tell me the equivalent fraction, remembering whatever you do to the bottom or the top you do to the other. Then can you compare these two? So you're going to have to actually go work it out first before you can compare them. So work out what 3/4 of 12 is, write that answer, then work out 5/8 of 16, tell me what that answer is, and then see what's the difference. Then write in 7/10 as a decimal, and then you're dividing 48 divided by 8. So you could either use your 8 times tables or your circle method to work that one out. Then press play as soon as you've done that. Okay, so the shape is this sphere because it is like a football, it's circular. If we then find our equivalent fractions, remember whatever you do to one you must do to the other. So how did I get from 3 to 1? Well, I'm either multiplying or dividing. Well, I'm going to divide it because I'm finding a smaller number, so I divide it by 3. I could also then divide my bottom number by 3, so 12 divided by 3. How many 3 is going to 12? 3, 6, 9, 12. My answer is going to be 1/4. Okay, so for number 6, we first of all needed to work out each side. So if I want to find what quarters, so I want to do 12 as that's my whole number. I'm dividing it by 4, that's my number of parts. So I want 4 parts. How many 4s go into 12? Well, 4, 8, 12. So I can do, there's going to be 3 in each. I can then do 3 in each times by my top number, 3, or I can find what 3 parts are worth. So my answer is going to be 9 on this side. Then if I work out the other side, so I want to do 16 divided by 8. If I draw my circles, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many 8s go into 16? 8. 16 is 2. So each part is worth 2. Then I want to know, I then look at my numerator, I want 5 parts, so I want 5 lots of 2, which is 10, and let's check it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I add all of those up, your answer is 10. So now I can compare them. 9 is smaller than 10, so 9 is less than 10, So you should have put the crocodile eating, oh sorry, wrong way. The crocodile should be eating the 5/8 of 16. Then we're doing 7/10 as a decimal. If I put my 7 in my tenths column, put my decimal point in, because I've got nothing in my ones column, I put 0. Your answer is 0.7. And finally, 48 divided by 8. You should have run your 8 times table to know your answer is 6. Okay, so first of all, can you tell me the shape? Then can you tell me what is 1/4 equivalent to? How many 8s? So you can draw it. You could also write the number sentence. Then having a go, tell me Jim has run 3/5 of a 400 metre race. How many more metres does he need to run? So thinking if he's already run 3/5, he's only got how many fifths left to run, and tell me what that would be. Then you're writing 0.3 as a fraction, and you'll then tell me what the value of the 5 is in the number, but you could also tell me what it is in the 8 and the 2 are worth as well. Once you've done that, press play and we'll see if you've got them correct. So you should have said this shape is a cylinder because it's circular and it's also long, so it's a 3D shape. Then we want to shade in, so 1/4. If I go down, I would obviously need to, in order for it to be 1/4, I would need to shade 2/8. Now let's check it. How do I get from 4 to 8? Well, I times it by 2, so I need to times my top number by 2. So you would obviously have 1/4 is equivalent to 2/8. It's the same. Okay, Jim then has run 3/5 of 400 metres. So that's how much he has run. But we want to know how much more he needs to run. So you could have either found 3/5 and then taken that off, or a quicker way, if he's run 3/5, we want to know how many more fifths to make a whole. So 3/5 add 2/5 would be a whole. So I could find 2/5 of 400. So I can just ignore that one for now. I could do 400 divided by 5. However, that's obviously a big number, so let's get rid of a 0. Let's do 40 divided by 5. So I know there's going to be 5 circles. I could have shared it out, or I know the answer would be 8 because I've done my 5 times tables. But I need to put my zeros back on. So put your zeros back on, so it's 80. And if I want 2 parts, I can do 2 times 80, or 2 times 8 is 16, and then put your 0 back on to find 160. Alternatively, you could have found what 3/5 were worth and then taken that off 400 to find the answer. Finally, 0.3 you should have said was 3/10. And finally, for 5 represents 500. The 8 represents 80, and the 2 represents 2. So well done if you got all of those correct for number 12. Okay, so now can you tell me what the shape is? Can you then use the comparisons, less than, greater than, equal to tell me which one's bigger? You could draw it if you want as well, or look at the numerators and denominators, think of the rule. Then completing the missing numbers, so you'll have to count the number of parts to see what is equivalent. 15, you're finding 3/8 of 48, so again show me your using your parts to show me your answer. And finally, you're dividing 480 divided by 8. Think about what you could do on that one, maybe take off the 0 to help you to find the answer. Press play once you've had a go at doing all of that, and we'll see how you've got on. Okay, so the shape is a 2D shape, and we would call it a hexagon because there are 6 sides, and remember 6 and hex have both got an X in it. If I was to draw out 5 8s, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 5 8s, 1 2 3 4 5, and draw 7 8s, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, we can clearly see that 7 8s is greater than 5 8s. Now we can also have said that, well, the denominators are the same, so because the denominators are the same, the bigger the numerator, the bigger the fraction. For number 14, we can see that 3 parts, so 3/4, are shaded on this top one because there's obviously 4 parts in total, and we want to know how many 12ths are shaded. Well, we could have either counted it 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, or alternatively we could have done how many 4s going to 12. Well, we're timesing by 3, so I times my top number by 3 to find the answer 9/12. My next one, I want to find 3/4 of 48, so I'm going to do 48 divided by 8. my 8 circles, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many 8s go into 48? Well, if I count up in my 8s or I share it out, I know the answer is 6. So there's going to be 6 in each circle. Then I want to look at my numerator, and I could either find what 3 are worth, or I could have done 3 lots of 6, which I know 6, 12, 18. My answer was going to be 18. So that would tell you what 3 8s of 48 are. And the last one, which should be nice and easy because it's quite similar to the one above, 480 divided by 8, we'll take off your 0. 48 divided by 8 is 6. Put on your 0 is 60. Okay, so for this one, ordering, first of all, tell me the shape. Think of it, is it 2D or 3D, and then tell me the shape. Then tell me the order of the fractions in ascending, so ascending going bigger. So thinking about which one is going to be the smallest. If you need to draw them, you could draw them as well. Number 18, how many quarters are equivalent to a half? So write down quarter, write down a half, so think about how many are. Then, using your less than, greater than, and equal to, you'll have to first of all work out each side, write down the answer, and then compare them. And then finally, adding together 72, 56, and 28. You might need to do a couple of column methods, or you could put them all into one. Press play once you've done that. Let's see how you've got on. So the shape you should have said is a cone because it's a 3D shape. There is a circle on the bottom part, and it goes up to a point at the top. Now, if we're ascending in ascending order, because we can see all the denominators are the same, we can just look up our numerators. Well, the smallest numerator is going to be 1/12, then it is going to be 5/12, and then it is going to be 11/12 because they're the biggest numerator, so it's going to be a bigger fraction. For number 19, you could have drawn halves, so you could have done halves and quarters. So if you would have actually drawn what 1 quarter was worth, if you drew what 1/2 was worth and you realised how many quarters, you would say that 1/2 was equivalent to, well, we can see it's 2 quarters, because if we actually times that by 2, we would times our numerator by 2 to find your answer 2 quarters. Okay, so to compare, we need to work out these. So to start with, let's work out what 3/5 is. So I will do 25 divided by 5 first of all. And I can do that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So my answer is 5. So each of these would be worth 5. I need to look at my numerator. I want 3 lots of 5. So 3 lots of 5 to find my answer is 15. Then if I worked out this side, 50 divided by 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know how many 10s go into 50 is 5, so each of these again are worth 5. I would then look at my numerator. I know I want 3 parts, so I'm going to find 3 parts, or I could just do 3 times. How many is in each part? 5, so again, we've got the answer 15, so I can see that the answer should be an equal sign to work these out. And finally, number 20, there's 2 ways you could have done this. You could have added them separately or all in the same column. You could have done 72 add 56, which I know is going to be 128, and then doing 128 add 28. 8 add 8 is 16, 2 add 2 add 4 is 4, add 1 is 5, and then you've got your 100. So your answer is 156. So you could have done it 2 separate column methods or all in the same column. Okay, this time can you tell me the shape that's at the top? Then can you order the fractions in descending order, so going down? Then you're telling me which one is bigger, 1/12 or 1/3. Now look in here, they've got different denominators, so you're going to have to find an equivalent fraction with the same denominator first of all. Then you're calculating 3/4 of 84, so write that down and then work it out. And then finally multiplying 23 by 4, so use your column method to work this out. Once you've had a go at doing it, press play and we'll see how you get on. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So the first one is a cuboid, is the shape, because it is it's got rectangles and it's got squares and it's a 3D shape. For the second one, if you're writing them in descending order, you need to start with the biggest one first. As they've all got the same denominators, we need to start with the highest numerator, which is 11, then 8/15, and then 12/15. Now for number 22, we need to actually put them so that they've got the same denominator. So I'm looking at number 3, I'm looking at the number 12. Now I know straight away that 12 is in my 3 times table, so I can leave my denominator as 12. However, on this side, I'm going to convert it and I'm going to find an equivalent fraction which has got a denominator of 12. So I know that I'm going to go from 3 to 12, I'm going to times by 4. So I'm going to times my numerator by 4. 1 times by 4 is 4. So I can now see I've got 1/12, I've got 4/12, so I can see that 4/12, or 1/3, is greater than 1/12. You could have also noticed that if the numerator is the same, the bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction, because you're sharing one piece between more people. Then you're finding 3/4 of 84, so I've got 3/4 of 84. So first I'm going to do 84 divided by 4. Now, I could have partitioned it, however, I know that 4 and 8 are both in my 4 times tables. So I can do, if I write my tens and ones, how many 4s go into 4? Well, that's 1. How many 4s go into 8? That's 2. So in each part there is 21. Now I can see that I want 3 parts, so I can do 3 times 21 to find what 3 parts are worth. And I could do 3 times, again, I can do my tens and my ones. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. So your answer is 63. Finally, 23 times 4, I'm going to do 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8, add your 1 is 92. Okay, so now I want you to tell me first of all what the shape is. Then you're adding together 5/11ths and 4/11ths. Write it as a number sentence and you might spot that they've got the same denominator, so what will your answer be? Then you're completing the missing numerator. Well, if I know 5/9 is greater than something 9. For a bonus point, you can tell me what are all the options that it could be. Then you're finding an equivalent fraction to 4/8, so thinking about what you could do to your numerator, what could you do to your denominator, and then you're drawing a rectangle with a perimeter of 16 centimetres. Now this there might be lots of different options, so if there are, please can you show me at least 2 options. And the perimeter, remember, is the whole way round and has to add up to 16. Okay, so the answers are, the first one, the shape is a cube, because we can see that there are all squares and it is a 3D shape. The second one, I'm doing 5/11ths and 4/11ths. We can see my denominators are the same, so my answer is going to have the same denominator. So if I do 5, add 4 is going to be 9. Then I know that 5/9 is greater than something 9. So you could have had 4/9, you could have also had 3/9, you could have had 2/9, and you could have also had 1/9. So if you have used any of those answers, fantastic, well done. Then we're trying to find equivalent fractions. So if I have a look, I want to see how did I get from 4 to 1? Well, I'm obviously going to find a smaller number, so I'm going to divide. And I know how many 1s go into 4 is going to be 4, so I'm dividing by 4. So I can divide my denominator by 4 as well. How many 4s go into 8? It's going to be 2. So I know 4/8 is equivalent to a half. You could have also noticed that 4 is half the number of 8. Finally, you should have drawn a rectangle. Now you could have had anything as long as it added up to 16. So your options were So you should have noticed that when we have a look, we can see that you could have had any of these options: 1 and 1, 7 and 7, 2 and 2, 6 and 6, 3 and 3, 5 and 5, and obviously the right way round, because I know obviously if I'd have started with the 1s, I know 1 goes on this side, 1 would go on that side. I know I've used there 2, so if I take 2 off 16, I would have 14, and so I'd have to divide 14 by 2 to find what these lengths here were worth, which was going to be 7. I would have obviously done that then for the second one. This side will be worth 2, so this side will be worth 2, because obviously they've got to be the same. So I've used 4 there. So if I take 4 off 16, I would have 12. And if I have 12 for my 2 other sides, I would have had 6 and 6. Finally, 3 and 3 and 5 and 5. Now you wouldn't have 4 add 4 add 4 add 4 because that would have been a square, not a rectangle. Finally, the last part of the lesson, the last few questions, tell me what the shape is at the top. Then you're finding the difference. Remember, when you find the difference, you are taking away. Then you are having a look at ordering the fractions in ascending order, getting bigger. Then using the signs to compare, so you'll have to obviously work those out first of all. And then finally dividing 92 by 4. For this one you might have to think of how you could work it out, maybe partitioning to find the bigger, obviously it's a bigger number. And then press play once you've had a go at doing that and we'll see what you've got. Okay, so you should have said that the shape is a 2D shape. It is a triangle. You could have actually said it's an equilateral triangle because all the lengths are the same length. Then if you're finding the difference, we're taking away. Now if my denominators stay the same, 9 and 9, my answer is obviously going to have end in a 9. And then obviously I can just do 7, take away 2 is 5 ninths. For number 30, ascending order, so starting from the smallest and getting bigger. Now the denominators were all the same, so I could have just looked at my numerators. 4 was the smallest, then 9, then 11. Okay, for number 31, we were trying to compare. Now what you should have, what some of you might have noticed straight away, that I've got a half and I have got 2 quarters. Well, I know if I was to draw a half, or if I was to shade, so if I was to shade a half, or if I was to shade 2 quarters, I could see that a half and a 2 quarters are the same because 2 is half of 4. So straight away I would have known my answer would be equal to, because I've got the same number that I'm trying to work out, and I know a half is also the same as 2 quarters. You could have, however, worked it out, and if you had, you would have found out the answer would have been an equal to sign. Finally, we're doing a bigger number divided by 4. So I'm going to actually partition 92 into 2 numbers. You could do more numbers, however I'm going to stick with 2. As I'm dividing my 4, I'm going to go 10 times bigger, which is going to be 40. And then I'm going to work out how many have I got left over. Well, I've got 0 ones, 2 ones, so I'm going to have 2 ones left over. 4 tens, I've got 9 tens I'm trying to get to, so it will be 52. So then if I did 40 divided by 4, 52 divided by 4, I know that 40 into 4 goes 10 times. Sorry, 4 goes into 40 10 times. Now again, I could have even partitioned 52 again into 40 and 12. So instead of doing 52 by 4, I could have done another 40 divided by 4, and I could have done 12 divided by 4, which would have equaled 3. So that I could have done 10, add 3 to get your answer 23. So you could have worked it out, or alternatively, you could have partitioned it into 2 lots of 40 and the 12 remaining as well. So well done if you got those right, and then you can put them on Seesaw as soon as you have completed them.